welcome to episode 4 of DashBored, B-O-R-E-D. Fellas, how's it going?
Good. Merry Christmas.
Great. Yes,
Merry
you
Christmas.
too.
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year.
We're recording in that weird sort of gap between Christmas and New Year's where nobody knows what day it is or what time it is. Or
It's exactly
It's
where I am right
irrelevant.
yeah, it just
It's
falls
irrelevant.
into that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but we've all been dreaming and sitting on the internet all day and paying attention to cars and not family and those kinds of things. But we're hoping you all had a happy Christmas while we've been doing all that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. You?
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Yeah, Santa brought you everything you wanted, Sean?
Well, to be quite honest, not all, most of our Christmas get-togethers have been deferred due to various illnesses. So we've had a immediate family Christmas, our own family, which was great. But of course, it's about the children, and then the rest of it is yet to come. So
Got it.
talk to me in a week.
Okay. And Mike is rocking his new Christmas gifts here.
Bose headphones. Gotta love them.
Ooh.
In a beautiful shade of,
Yeah.
what would we call that? Sandy taupe?
Yeah, I would say so.
I think he called it sand earlier.
I did,
I
actually.
think that's the
Yeah,
exact
he did.
word.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Got to go out on a limb, right?
Well, they're not green. I
No,
can say that.
they're not
Well, I'm
green.
going to know they're yours.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
no question about that.
Exactly.
Plus,
That
they
or
fit
a
right in.
13-year-old girls.
Yeah.
I think maybe if they were, let's be kind. It's Christmas. Let's loop back to something we talked about 2 weeks ago. The Mustang GTD versus GT3 RS poll we put up on Instagram. Not surprisingly, all of my followers are Porsche people, and we ended up with an 80% bias towards the Porsche GT3 RS. But I think all of us were kind of secretly hoping that the Mustang was going to win.
We did. At least be bigger percentage.
Closer
Yeah, I
to
thought it'd be
running.
closer.
Yeah.
So, you know,
For the general same money, I thought we'd see more Mustang people.
well, what was the other one we did? We compared the ID Buzz, which pulled, I don't know,
A surprisingly strong
almost
number.
40% of
Yes.
it.
And we're
Yes.
still talking
Yes.
about it to this
Yes,
day.
yeah.
It won't go away.
One might almost compare the ID Buzz to that new Jaguar rebrand because we're still talking about it.
Hey.
Still talking.
It's interesting. Dylan's brought that up multiple times that we keep talking about it.
I don't even remember what we were just talking about this week about it.
I
In
don't
chat.
know.
Well,
Interiors,
Sean wanted
maybe?
to see it.
That's right. I
Right.
sat in it, and the one at Dalmar, shout out Willie, he had their graphics people put, what would you call that?
60s vibe.
Yeah. It's like, it was very sort of
looked
hippie
flower
child.
power.
You got it.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
attracting all the people, which is exactly the point. He did share that all the ones you're seeing at dealers are not for sale. They are contractually required to hold them for 6 or 8 months, and there's one more coming that he also has to hold, and then customer cars are arriving sometime in Q1 to the extent that they have any orders. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting. Well, back to GT3 RS versus GTD. I don't know. I only wanted to comment that I was just sort of disappointed that nobody took the Mustang side. I'm not going to buy one, just so we're all on the same page. But I'm also not going to buy a 992 GT3 RS either.
There you go.
When they're starting to encroach on that $400,000, $500,000 mark, it's just out of my orbit.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Crazy money.
I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Skipping also slightly backwards, but it's kind of this continuous thing we're doing. We're talking about Mike's Cayenne.
Saga of the Cayenne.
Yes, give us an update on that.
Well, I went over, picked up my lift kit the other day, so that'll be getting installed in the next week or so. Excited about that. 2.5-inch lift kit, spacer lift kit from HRB Off-Road. Don't know. We're going to see how it goes.
So tell us about this for the uneducated.
Yeah.
It goes, is this a body lift? Is this
This is a suspension lift.
okay. So this is kind of like when you level like an F-150. I'm looking at you now,
Yeah.
Dylan. You
Yeah.
just-
Yep, correct.
Yep.
Okay.
So struts need to be replaced anyway, so while they're out, I'm going to put those in there.
Are you putting some badass JRZ external reservoir shocks on this thing? or what?
Not yet. Step one. Step
Okay.
one.
I was imagining some bright
Step
anodized
one.
blue King
yeah,
shocks
yeah,
over there. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Step
yeah.
one.
I think we wanna take
eventually
realistic
it'll
steps.
get there, I'm sure, but we'll see.
Okay. And you drove it a whole nother week?
Drove it a whole
And it was
nother week.
reliable?
No issues. Check
Good.
engine light still on.
I like it.
I'm
always
I'm-
gonna
I'm
be
living
on.
with it. Exactly, right?
As Dylan would say, the warm yellow glow of a check
Yeah.
engine light
Yeah.
just
No issues.
hits right to the
No.
soul.
No, it's-
Just driving it, putting gas in it, lots of gas, but driving it.
They do suck fuel.
Yeah.
That burly V8.
That's okay.
Sounds good.
I can't remember
It does sound
great.
good.
if we covered this before, but we'll maybe cover this later. I've been sort of hunting around for used Porsches over the break. But is your headliner sagging?
No, it's not.
Oh.
It is in good shape.
Okay,
Yeah,
because that's apparently a thing.
it is a thing, but that's in good shape.
I'll be honest, I
Interesting.
didn't know that.
I
No, me either.
I may or may not have been the first bidder on another BAT car, and it is suffering currently from a sagging headliner. So,
Interesting.
Did you say it was a Cayenne?
yes, it's a
okay.
diesel
Wow.
Cayenne.
Well,
which,
tell us about it. Is it the blue one you sent me?
Yes. So yeah. So I did.
958?
It's a 958, 2015,
Yeah.
47,000 miles. I've been watching these. They've been going for mid 30s US, which is too much money.
Yeah.
By the time it gets here, you're talking about 55
V8,
grand.
you said?
No, 3
Diesel.
Oh,
guy.
diesel. Okay.
Yeah. But it's moonlight blue again.
Nice color.
Yeah, it is
Color.
nice. Yeah, yeah.
And on agate gray, which is an unusual,
That is unusual.
unpopular color, but I do think it's quite nice, particularly
Kind
on
of the
blue.
reverse of your Boxster.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah. Gray on
Interesting.
blue and blue on gray.
You are missing one important point, which is it is a 958.2 diesel.
yes.
Which puts you in the rare air.
Yeah.
Because they didn't get many of those over here before Volkswagen got caught cheating.
That's right. And perhaps to that point, the bidding has been enthusiastic, if I, could
bet.
call it
Oh,
that.
interesting.
Yeah. So I think, it's already leaving my orbit. And but you know what? I've got, again, go back to my history. Just another bid to add to the list. So
Does
But
that
now
mean-
you'll get the constant email updates.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
But
gonna
that just,
know.
does that put us all in the realm for Cayennes at the
I was
moment?
going to say, Dylan, aren't you looking, or your wife, perchance?
See, listener, we're just going around the table in a circle. So we've made it from Mike to Sean, and now we're going to Dylan. Hit us with the news. Let's
Yeah.
shout out Dylan's wife,
Yep.
who doesn't need to be named. It's up to you.
She just wants her shout out. It's fine.
Exactly. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so since you guys have been getting these Cayennes and we've been chatting about it, we go through cars pretty quick. I don't really keep them very long, maybe a year, maybe a year and a half. I think we have a Taos right now in 2024. Step down from the Atlas before. I think between the two, for 2.5 years, there might be 15,000 K on them.
oh wow,
Okay.
It does not move.
no,
Right.
No, she
Yeah.
doesn't drive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we went, well,
you don't need a brand
we
new
don't.
vehicle.
We don't. No, it was just easy to buy one, right?
You could probably save
these,
money.
Oh, I don't know about save
Let's
money.
not go that far.
Yeah,
I'm
but-
reading between the lines that your wife doesn't need a car that starts every time.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no.
fair
I
enough.
mean, it's
Yeah. Doesn't have to
it
start
will
every
start every time. It will, but yeah, no. Now we're looking into the 2011, 2015 range Cayenne
I like
S or GTS.
Nice.
I don't think I want to go turbo. I think just one more thing to go wrong.
Turbo trouble, isn't that a thing? Isn't that a line they use?
I think that's true.
It just makes sense that there's more things, more items to go wrong.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think so far from what we're seeing for like value, I don't know, they're pretty good.
Yeah. I don't think we ever discussed this for me, but my thinking was that we could either buy a relatively new Cayenne, 2 years old, for $110,000 GTS, or we could buy one that was 11 years old that stickered at 140, and we buy it for 25, and we try it.
Yeah.
It's I affectionately refer to it as our experiment, and I would love the license plate experiment if my wife would let me, but she won't have it. I would like it. I also wanted For the Dog. She poo-pooed that also.
That's probably taken. But I
I could make something happen.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll find something. Anyway, okay, so you're on the hunt.
Yes,
She's
on the
been
hunt.
sending you links on a regular basis.
Yep.
So what
By
has,
the time this comes out, we'll have seen a few.
and she
I'll say
has been swayed by Mike's purchase, Ryan's, or what are we thinking?
Well, I mean, on
Sure, it's Ryan's. His is much nicer condition.
well,
than
that's
mine.
not
No, I think
fair.
I think what you guys are looking for is FOMO.
Yeah, probably. And then we also picked up Buddies on Friday. He had a 05 turbo.
And she was quite taken by it, I take it.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, everybody likes the rumbly sounds. No dropped headliner in that one.
Well, there you go.
Race techs all over. I'm assuming when this came out, this was a highly spec'd one.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a turbo.
Oh,
though,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Which, of course, dovetails that means it was ridiculously expensive.
correct.
Yeah,
Old
especially in
man spec
2005.
for sure.
Yeah.
Old man spec.
It looks good in the photos. It looks good.
Yep.
Super
Yeah.
clean. I was pretty impressed when I saw it in person.
Yeah.
He got it for a steal, so he's gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Well, before we leave this topic, we've all said, are we into the Cayenne world? But in actual fact, I don't know when this happened, but recently I've decided that I think that the first generation Panamera is a good looking car.
Oh boy.
Yes.
I don't disagree with you.
So
I've always-
gear
I'm al-
down there, big rig.
I've
Gear
always-
down.
I've
Oh,
always
boy.
been intrigued by them.
So I will admit that, and I'll preface all this by saying, like, when they came out, I was all over it, saying that's the ugliest, dumbest thing. I can remember watching the Top Gear flick where they were in somewhere in Eastern Europe and they were racing these things around like an industrial parking lot. And
That industrial lot was just outside London. I remember that episode.
oh, okay, well, not Eastern
hilarious.
Europe, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was fantastic. And the Panamera won. It was the most capable, competent, etc. It was white. I remember the film, but in any event, I think the rear 3/4 is still awkward to say the least. But if you look at one full side profile, hard on, they now to me look fantastic. And I don't know what's happening to me, but so you guys are all
Age
looking at
and
Cayennes.
wisdom.
Is that what that is? I'm not sure. Okay, yeah. I think you're right about the rear 3/4, although I think you're being polite. I'm not sure awkward is the right word. It looks a bit doughy. There's something where they're like,
Yeah.
it's like they just weren't sure. And then eventually they went, we got to get this out.
Well,
You know?
there's a story about that, and I'm sure everyone's heard it, but it's a very tall German executive that basically kind of told the design team, "I don't fit in here, so figure it out and fix it." And so that's perhaps part of the problem.
This is
But-
true?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'd never
Yeah.
heard this.
Me neither.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Well, here, I mean, it's been on, probably some of the YouTube reviews you've seen, but the guy, I don't know if he was the CEO at the time or whatever he was, but he was 6'4", and he got in the back of one of the models and he said, "I don't fit, figure it out." So that's kind of why the shape of the roof is wagon-ish until you get to this sort of ass end, and then it goes, oh, what do we do now? Right? It just sort of rolls
Yes,
over.
okay,
and-
okay.
So,
That's interesting. If that is true, it makes more sense.
yeah. I mean, is that hey, they did what they could do. I guess they had a mandate and they had to work around it. So,
But the sales data always, I don't know what it is from back then, but I mean, honestly, how many of these things did you drive by? There weren't that many.
no, you don't see them.
Now you did share one to us. I think was it Yachting Blue maybe or something?
yeah, it
Yes.
was.
And
Okay, I just saw his heart
Yeah.
pump
Well,
out of his chest.
I know. I was right there with him.
Yeah. Oh boy.
because the
Okay.
car is sold.
Oh, it's sold.
Yes.
Okay.
So just it was in first of all,
Not
it was
to
in-
you, right?
No, unfortunately not.
Tell us the year.
2010.
2010.
Panamera Turbo in Yachting Blue, which I think was the launch car, or perhaps the Cayenne was for that color, but
I don't know.
I think it was Panamera.
Okay.
Anyway, still a great PTS color today. It had navy and I would call it ivory interior. It was quite light.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Full leather. Mm-hmm. Didn't have PCCBs, but most of the other options.
Right.
It was a beautiful 80-year-old man's X-Duck, whatever it was, right? I mean,
Right,
it had
right.
5 previous owners, but it's since sold. So it'll be someone else's problem. I was very euphoric about this and thought, oh, this will be great. Like, we'll trade my daily, get one of these.
Oh, now let's just.
I text our good friend Jared and I said, on a scale of sort of 1 to 10, how bad of an idea is this? And he goes, in all caps, very bad.
You've taken us a lot farther than I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
So I did do a little bit of internet sleuthing, and apparently they have an oil consumption problem. They drink it at an alarming rate. Some of them just do that and continue to do it. Some of them
Yeah.
get so bad that you have to sort of rebuild them. So,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
yeah,
What's an alarming rate on
Yeah.
a Panamera?
I was gonna say.
I don't know.
a quart of oil every 2,000 kilometers.
Oh, that's not bad.
Oh,
Really?
no.
Like I think
we
the
all drive around with oil in our car,
The
right?
996, they changed
I
the
do,
spec
yes.
on them to
Yeah.
a quart of oil every 500 kilometers.
Oh my God. Oh,
Yeah.
well, hey,
Also, I drove a Subaru for years, man. I mean, that's like a full-time job. Like they just chew through oil.
oh, well, see, you guys are
It's
not
the
helping.
nature of
Now,
the-
now I'm going to ignore that problem.
Exactly.
at
Oh,
all.
I wouldn't even think about it. No.
Perfect.
Just do it.
We are really good pushers.
Yeah.
We're not selling. We're pushing.
While we're on the topic of Panamera, what about that Tech Art one we shared to the group this week?
Does nothing for me. Zero.
No,
Yeah, I
nothing.
thought it was okay. Like,
It was
I
okay. It
wouldn't-
was kind of cool, other than the hood I did not like.
Was
I
it
wasn't
actually
too
a tech art?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't too offended by the hood.
No,
I thought it was
weird.
interesting.
It was weird. The interior was kind of cool.
Yeah. No, I agree. I thought it was a good looking. I mean, overall, most of the Tech Art stuff offends me, but that one I didn't mind. And yeah, the hood and it was a newer one, the new shape, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember what year it was, but
Well, listener, maybe we'll share a photo of that so it doesn't come out of context here. But so you at least know what we're all talking about.
Yeah. Let's move on for something that doesn't involve spending money.
Let's talk about my comment about the Lexus RC Coupe. Speaking of cars that I hated when they came out, and I've kind of come around to it. I was driving at work the other day, and I was driving by some guy's driveway in the middle of nowhere, and on it was a Lexus RC Coupe. I could never tell you the year. I don't know anything about it. I recall when this car came out that it was dumb, and it was taking business from the four-door, which would have been called the IS back then, I think.
The GS, I believe.
Oh, see, I don't know that. Anyway, when it came out, I remember it looked awkward. I remember the front end you thought looked quite good. The back end looked heavy.
Bulbous.
Yeah, bulbous is a good word. And I know we looked at a picture of this car earlier between the four of us, and everybody almost doesn't remember that they existed. But they obviously built this car for like 6 years. I mean, there's quite a few of them. They even went as far as to go to an RCF, I think with the big engine, the V8 5-liter.
Yeah.
But this one I saw was like a generic gray, generic silver wheels. It's funny because I guess I'm growing up a bit. It kind of made me feel like I was looking at a Toyota GT86, but nicer.
Yes.
And I did have a bit of a moment where I considered that I should stop and take a photo of this guy's random Lexus. I'm sure he would have thought I was nuts. But I don't know, it's just interesting. I'm aging. I'm growing up, I guess. I don't know. I feel you on the Panamera thing. I don't drink the Kool-Aid, but I feel you, you know?
Hey,
yeah.
By the way, you are part of this problem.
I don't know what you're talking
perhaps
about.
Are the problem because
don't know what you're talking about.
As we said in
how the tables have turned.
Yeah, one of the episodes when I sat in your Cayenne and I was like, look at all these buttons, look at these gauges, look at the sport design steering wheel that's straight out of a 911. I was like, this is a way to get around on a daily basis, but not have the sort of. So this is my version of practicality, and still has all of the. You're sitting in basically what feels like a fighter jet, and it's a Porsche daily.
I think you should just buy the Lexus.
But isn't there a lot more screen in the Panamera?
Not in the 970, not in the original
don't
gen.
know.
No, it looks like a 997 or a Cayenne. Same PCM.
Oh, okay.
At this moment, I feel I must rebut that by saying only that I don't drive the Cayenne daily.
That's true.
So I don't have necessarily to stress about it too much. I did get a DM from a guy asking me the other day about, hey, what's it like driving a daily? And I effectively told him, I love it, but I don't drive it every day.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to rely on it every day. It might worry me that something might go wrong at some point.
Interesting.
But that being said, I also subscribe to the idea that the more you drive it, it's probably better for it.
Yeah.
So I try to drive it every other day. We don't let it sit at extended periods. And I also never let the battery wind down. I pay attention and I go out there and I run the car if I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I let it run full operating temperature, which with a 4.8 liter engine takes forever.
Yeah.
But it will get there. It's really hurting my fuel consumption.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Probably has 8 quarts of oil you need to warm up or more. So.
Probably more. I don't know what
I
they
don't
are.
know.
Like,
There's probably a lot.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably 9 or 10, but
yeah.
But that does lead us on to one other subject, which I wrote down that I wanted to talk about. I'm calling it V8 vibes. I have lived with this V8 now for 2 months, 2,500 kilometers, and there's just something to it. Having never owned a pickup truck, I'm looking at Dylan. There's something about that endless kind of like wafting torque.
Yep.
It's just always there. And it's not about going fast, and I don't care about going fast. I never really have. But you just kind of lean into the pedal to that like 6 or 7 out of 10, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to end on it either.
No.
Just goes.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. I posted on my story the other day that I called it a highway missile. And I don't think there's a more accurate way for me to describe that car. Because I'm going 100. I want to go 150. I push the pedal down. I'm there. It's amazing,
See, you're not helping again. Panameras also have 4.8 V8, same motor as yours,
good.
I guess.
Okay,
not his.
Okay,
it's 4.5, right?
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So again, you're not helping the problem.
Dylan's the only one who's owned a V8. I'm very curious. You've owned many V8s.
Oh, I've had lots of pickup trucks over the years.
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
I was
okay.
gonna
Mike
say-
too. Sorry.
Yeah, Mike would have a lot of V8s too.
Yeah.
I would say, probably four, and then a bunch of big, dirty diesels.
I had a lot of 80s GM products that had like 180 horsepower at the crank. So
My last diesel had like 1,100 foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
People are always shocked at how fast the 3/4 ton trucks are, like the new ones.
Yeah.
Like you're not catching it.
No.
They
But there's
have
nothing to
endless
it, right?
power.
It's just kind of a passenger cell and a big empty metal box.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
To your point, Mike, about, I mean, or maybe it's Ryan's, about the noise and the waft of the torque or whatever. When I was growing up, my dad had I think it was a 92 Ram 150 and had a 318, sort of small block.
Generic.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was probably 205 horsepower, whatever it was, but it sounded amazing.
Yeah.
And you put your foot in it. It was all just about the noise and the experience. It wasn't fast at all, but it's just, like you said, it is a vibe.
There's a vibe. I can't quite, but I love that. Like, it just goes. I love it. I can't.
Yeah. Especially NAs, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's a whole ball game right there.
Yeah. Getting on the highway, it's a wonderful experience. Yeah. It feels amazing. This does link me up to something we were talking about a few days ago, which was I think the value in let's just call them SUVs as a market, and we were comparing. Sean shared us a link to the Jaguar F-Pace SVR or something.
SVR, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, can you fill me in on that car? Because I feel like the price was $100,000, and I remember thinking that seems like an extraordinary price for like a crazy V8 SUV that just doesn't exist anymore.
So I don't remember exactly the year the one I shared, but
I think it was a 24.
Yeah, so you might be right, and you're right. It was discounted maybe like 20 grand on the lot. So actually, my wife, when these first came out, not the SVR specifically, but F Paces, was thrilled with how they looked. We sat in one at the auto show one year, and she's like, I'd love to have one of these at some point. And then, they launched the SVR version, which has 575 horsepower, I believe. It's the supercharged.
And it sound beautiful.
It does sound
so good.
amazing.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
So good.
Yeah, like I mean, one, you can buy a brand new one now for 100 grand, which to your point, I agree is, again, still a lot of money. But in 2025, which is almost what it is, amazing value. I mean, a friend of ours just shared a Yukon Denali. I don't know if it was the long version or the short one, but
I have no earthly idea.
The point is, it was $156,000 plus tax.
Right.
So
that seems easy to stomach.
So
you can't see my face.
Plus luxury tax.
Yeah.
So if you can buy a Jaguar F-Pace, which looks a million times better, has the supercharged V8. I mean, they both have V8s, but it's just a way cooler car. Yeah, I think it's amazing value. And I mean, as we talked about at one point before, the Jaguars on the used secondhand market are depreciated quite a lot. I had a look over the weekend, and you can pick up a 20 or a 21 car with, 50, 60, 70,000 kilometers for between 50 and 60 grand.
Okay. Something that was purchased at 100,000 or more.
Or more. Yeah.
Oof, that's a drop.
That is quite the drop.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have to be honest. What I thought when I saw that car was that I really liked that car. And I remember going to the grocery store, and I would often pass by a guy who had one. It was bright blue. It had a white interior. It was beautiful looking. It made all the noise.
It's called Ultra Blue. I know exactly that car.
It looked amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, I always passed this car, and I thought, it's a nice looking car. But I always thought, it's a common line for my wife and I that you got to be really rich to buy those things new, because you got to eat the depreciation of 50% in that first year or 2 years. However, my thought when you sent the price of that one you shared was that actually brings you right into the market of buying like a no miles brand new or just off lease Macan GTS. And I found myself doing this comparo in my head. And I've driven the Macan GTS, and it is amazing. It feels like a crazy little hot hatch, and it rips down the road, and you can lower it with its air suspension, and it's awesome. But I found myself genuinely thinking at that price point, I might commit to the Jag. Just at 100.
Really?
Yeah, because the V8, it's because I'm connecting it to V8 vibes. I was like, just imagine wafting.
Because they would be about the same size, right?
I think so.
Like,
the Jag would be a little bigger.
Like it would be more
that's interesting.
Cayenne
I didn't think that. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Well, that's interesting.
That's a good comparison. I never thought of that, but I mean, to your point about Macan is probably, well, not almost as fast probably if you put the weight and everything and the turbo and all that stuff together. But if you basically meld your Cayenne that you have today, the V8 and all that experience that you get with the Jaguar, and it's less money than a new GTS. Like they're up in the 120 range.
Yeah, I was thinking if you know, the dealers are hungry, so I was thinking if you
Well,
walked in and went,
sure.
"Hey, look, I want a 3-option car," they might actually do it today.
Yeah.
Or you buy one with, loaner 6,000
Yeah.
kilometers
Yeah.
on it,
Or go
something.
get a BMW X5.
I don't know anything about X5s. Are they in
You
that
can
price
get those
point?
cheap.
Yeah, they're cheap.
1 or 2 years old, kind of thing.
Not X5Ms though, which
No,
is
no,
really
not
what
the
no,
M's.
not the M.
So does the regular X5 have a V8 now? I don't actually know that.
I think the
yeah,
whatever
I think
the
you can option it.
X50i or whatever the big dog is. I
Yeah.
think it's the 4.4 V8.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I don't know those ones.
I'm with you. I'm not up on the
I was
modern
looking today.
BMW stuff.
X5s, 21s, 22s, 50 to 60,000.
For an X5?
Yeah.
I think they're good looking. I'm not questioning that part. I do struggle with BMW as an overall picture. They just seem to have lost the plot. And I know I've told people that before, but I can't follow them. I don't get it. It's like they're going 19 directions and nothing makes sense.
They have a
There's
lot of models.
Yeah, and there's
that's
no
what I was looking
continuity.
for.
None. No.
No, everything looks different. There's
One
that
has a huge grill.
exactly.
One has a small grill.
Yes,
Like,
the grill sometimes could absorb a human, and I'm not sure you'd even notice it. And I realize that's an over exaggerating. I get that, but
I don't think you are.
the one that I can't stand, I'm never going to know them. It's an XIM something. It's like a electric, weird looking SUV.
I think it's just called the XM.
Yeah, I think it's just called the XM.
Just bizarre.
It's so
I don't
bizarre
know
looking.
what they've done here. And people who buy them, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, none of their cars are good looking. I would maybe argue that like the 3 Series at the lower level still looks okay. I
looks
could take
okay,
it.
yeah.
But they just,
or the top end sedan,
Which
which is
is-
the 8 Series.
oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Oh,
the one with
that
the
looks
gigantic
normal
grill?
still.
Like the one
You think that looks normal? The 8
Oh,
is
yeah,
it?
the
No,
one
no,
you
you're
get-
thinking
you
of the
get
7, which is heinously ugly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
The 8 is the coupe version.
Oh, sorry. Okay, you're right.
and I agree.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
still a respectable looking car.
Yeah, but
Which
there's
I
just
saw
no-
an article. They're getting rid of it.
Well, that doesn't really surprise me.
No, me either,
How
'cause
many
when's
new
the last time you saw
BMWs
one?
do you see? Nobody commits to these things. People buy the M2, which I recognize this is controversial, but it's just I don't get it. I just don't get
Are
it.
we talking new
the new
M2?
one, the one where it looks like it was a sports car and they bolted on a bunch of square parts?
Boxy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
No,
I don't get it.
I'm with you. I don't.
Yeah.
Never driven one. I mean, I've sat in one. It's a bigger car than you'd think.
Yes, agreed.
It's
yeah.
the whole dash, as with most modern BMWs, is one giant screen.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And I mean, the old, I shouldn't say old, it's just one generation prior. I thought that M2 is gorgeous.
I could not agree with you more.
Yeah, but see, I can't even think of that one, to be honest with you.
No?
It's the
No.
one in that blue, that like launch blue. I have no idea what it
Oh,
was.
like the baby bluish
yeah,
one?
it's,
Long Beach Blue.
maybe.
I think.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know what you're talking about.
I remember the marketing
Okay.
photo of that car on
Oh.
like and I was like, now they've got it.
Mm-hmm.
I did sit in one. It was a competition car. I don't think there was a center armrest, if I remember correctly. I don't think it was there at all. And I used to have this problem with my old Civic because I had bought a DX and not an SI, and that was a typical Honda factory thing where they go, well, you bought the DX, which means that we've deducted.
You don't get a center console.
no center armrest.
Oh, how far we've come.
But it was all, you had to,
No wonder they're
you had to
merging.
adapt the way you got in the car, so you didn't rely on the armrest. But yeah, anyway, I'm with you that the previous gen M2, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The new one is lost. The M3 with that bucktooth gigantic grill thing.
No.
Yeah, the big beaver front is weird.
Beaver. Yeah, it can be made,
Only on
I think, to
black
look
does it
good.
look
yeah,
good.
I think in
Because
black.
you can't really see it.
Agree. And I also think the new M2, the boxy one, looks dynamite in black. Which is funny because I'm not really a black car guy, but I look at it, I'm like, oh, that
It
looks
does
quite good.
hide all of the weirdness.
Yeah.
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 And I've noticed the lot here in London has like 2 of the highlighter green
Well, I was just
models. And I
It's
was
good.
like, oh my Lord.
It's a good point. I mean, whether you like that color or you don't, one thing that they're doing right now, which I'll give them kudos for, is they've launched a bunch of great colors, and they are actual colors. They're not grays. They're not.
Agreed.
I do like that, not the highlighter green, but the dark green.
Oh, like
Yes.
the
Oh,
BRG
yeah. Well,
looking.
yeah, they might have a
ish.
British racing
Yeah.
green.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that does look good.
There's the M3 Isle of Man green, I think is what it's
Oh,
called.
yeah, that kind of, it's kind of the launch.
Bright, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. And then you can get on the new M2 or others. Yeah, you can get what's the Lamborghini gray? Grigio.
Oh, Grigio
Telesto?
Telesto.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna. You can get that, and there's also a great purple and a few other, like they've really brought in a nice palette. So
I got a DM from a guy who works at a BMW dealer in St. Catharines, and it was a M4. Is that the two-door M3?
yes.
Yes.
An M4 coming off the truck in Porsche paint to sample mint green.
No way.
And
Oh,
he
really?
shared it to me, of course, because my car is mint green.
Sure.
And I don't know him well, but my immediate response was, the paint color doesn't change the fact that the car is ugly. And I was also in the background kind of sad that they did that, but I knew it was part of their paint program now. I think it seems reasonable, $5,000. I think it's not unreasonable.
BMW, yeah, individual or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when Porsche is now charging $24,000 to do the same thing, and then charging you more to paint the carbon fiber that you just paid for in your paint to sample program. But yeah, and BMW as an overall picture, there's just no continuity, and I struggle when I can't feel your brand identity. It's just all over the place. I don't get it.
It's a
I'm out.
disaster.
Same.
I don't know.
I mean, one of our pastimes, probably, I won't single myself out, is, you from time to time you peruse the lots and you go to this dealer and you go to that. I mean, I used to stop at BMW on the regular because it's right on.
Really?
Oh yeah. I haven't been there in probably more than a year because I just don't care.
I like to think that that's our influence as a group that you don't go there anymore.
just to BMW specifically.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I do go to Porsche a lot more
Yes,
than
I know.
used to,
You're literally the guy who visits the car dealers more than anyone I know.
I've never seen a guy just like stop at car dealers,
I
walk
don't do
around.
that.
In my defense, it's 3.5 minutes from my house, so it's
Right.
like you just pop in.
Like your
Do you get the
reward.
free coffee?
No, I don't raid the snack bar.
No, I have a system. I have a system. I don't want to give it away or anything, but I'm going to. I have a system. You get to Porsche and you go, "Hey, how's it going?" And you're just passing by, and you grab the dad's cookies.
Yeah.
And you're out the door.
A little sparkling water to go.
No, I don't take the sparkling water. I'm not gouging. I just want the free cookie. It's
The
a
oatmeal
system.
cookies.
I have
Yeah.
a thing. Yeah.
They're
But
pretty
don't eat
good.
those in the car because they're crumbly.
Oh, very
Don't
messy.
do that.
Very messy.
It is an interesting comparison you mentioned earlier. I actually have a friend that owns both the new M2 and GT4. And my distinct memory of seeing the new M2 in person the first time was at a dealer in North Toronto. And I remember the kind of like, I'm going to call it the waistline of the car. So the lower part of the windows it just felt really high.
It is.
And I remember thinking, man, it's really weird. And I thought it just felt high, even though I know this is supposedly a competitor for a GT4, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I texted my buddy who owns both. And I said, take a picture of the two next to each other. And the height difference has to be like 5 inches.
I bet.
Like that window line
Really?
is so much higher. Yeah, you don't realize how big of that car is.
Like
the M2
is it just taller
It's
in
tall.
general?
The door
yeah,
is very
the door is
tall.
huge.
Yeah.
But like the actual, let's say, roof line,
Like this line
that
right
much taller.
here. Yeah, this line, like it's amazing. It was weird.
To your point, the roof line would still be higher than we're looking at
It is.
a GT4, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a small-ish car.
Yeah, no doubt.
But for whatever reason, and I've not sat in the back of a new or an old one, but apparently there's less room in the back of the new M2, despite its gain in weight and size as compared to the old one. So whatever they've done, they've not added room in the cabin, but it's definitely a bigger car.
I don't get it at all.
No.
I'm out. I love the idea. Although every review I think I've watched always says that the manual transmission, which is sort of the enthusiast choice and all of us would want, is
It's a
worse
bit-
than the
bit blah.
automatic. Is that?
I've read that too.
Yeah, BMW isn't exactly known for a great gear shift.
Did you stop at the BMW factory / museum / anything when you're in Germany?
No, it was on our list. It's in Munich, I think. It was on our list. We elected that Munich as a city had far more interesting things to do. I'm not
beer
sure.
garden.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much interest I have really in the BMW product line. I do want to maybe just mention a guy on Instagram, Jerry. I got to know Jerry last year in Philly when I went to a Cars and Coffee, and he's got a 996 911, and I admire him because he buys like sort of the best older versions of things. So he has this gorgeous 996, and he has an E92 M3 V8.
Yes.
I've
That's
never
their like epitome.
yeah,
That's a
and
creme
I
de la
don't know
creme.
the shade of blue. I have no idea.
Hey,
But
at
the
least it's blue, right,
yeah,
Sean?
yeah. It's a DCT car, but
no
like
problem.
I like Jerry's collection because now it goes 996, E92 M3, and he bought an 05 Cayenne S, I think. So he's kind of got all the He's kind of the group I'm looking for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the BMW is a DCT, but I could care less. I just think the V8 in that car is amazing.
Yeah.
I kind of like the shift to these older cars.
Me too.
I think you're going to continue to find that when the
think
banks are
so.
charging 8 or 9% to borrow money, you're just going to find the demand for used cars goes up. I think it
Yeah.
just seems logical.
Totally.
I'm not a finance guy, so we're all on the same page.
And I don't even mean that way. I just mean like I'd rather have 3 older cars of different experience
yeah, fair
than
enough.
one just blah comfort cruiser.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
there's a time and place for everything. Like
Yeah.
everybody likes driving a couch down the 401, but sometimes you like a little something different.
I'd like a V8 powered couch, please.
I think you got
The
it.
noisy
Yeah.
one with the big tires and the. I watched a little YouTube today because it's Sunday and that's the day we tend to record. I don't know if we all noticed or not, but Chris Harris posted a video today that he bought a Jaguar XJS, like
Yes.
early 80s one with a manual transmission, 6-cylinder. And if everybody's probably seen that TWR, or what's it called, TWR? The fancy...
Yeah. Walker. Yeah. Whatever. Tom Walkinshaw Racing.
Yeah.
Whatever TWR stands for.
Yeah, that crazy looking...
Wildcat thing. Or,
Yeah, with the V12 supercharged crazy car. Dylan's looking at me
I
like
got
we're
no
crazy.
idea
but
what you're talking
well,
about.
we'll talk about it on a future episode. It's quite a thing, but I love the idea that like he bought this car and he's like, Chris Harris has gone down this path of like, I'm just going to buy the ratty cars and I'm going to kind of clean them up, and I'd like that, which falls
Yeah.
exactly into what you're talking about,
does.
Dylan.
Yeah.
I just find it a little bit more enjoyable.
I agree.
He stated publicly now that and I think we're sort of all admitting the same thing. Like, there's very limited brand new cars that excite me or have much interest. And he has said the same. He's like, look, I am so into now buying something old, restoring it, making it his own, experiencing it. Like, he's, he obviously as a professional journalist or whatever he has been over the years, he's had access to umpteen, whatever brand new car he wants, and he has no interest in them anymore. So,
Yeah, that says a lot, actually. To
not
hear you
just
say it just
BMW,
like that, that's
Yeah, it
interesting.
does. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's maybe go around the table on his. I'm never going to know the name, but that red M5 wagon he has. Let's go around the table on the interior. I'm just going to pull up a picture of that. You guys can talk about it while I pull it up.
I think it's
That's the one he made look like a bus ish on the inserts? Or is that the corduroy one?
corduroy. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I like the corduroy.
I really
That's
love
pretty
it.
cool.
I love it.
Here's the picture.
Yeah. This one's sweet.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm going on the record.
That's like, I think we had an 84 Caravan back in the day. It looked exactly like that.
Sexy. I think it's awesome.
I'm finding I'm going to dissent again as I did a few weeks ago on some other matter. I think the corduroy is cool. I think the fact that he's restoring this car is cool. It's bright fucking orange against a red car. It
Doesn't go with the red.
I mean,
but it's cool.
Tell us how you really feel, Sean.
but what number of car is this for him?
Yeah.
wow.
You know what I mean? Like eventually you just get,
Yeah.
ooh, who cares? Let's throw something crazy in there.
He loves it. So more power to him.
I think it's awesome. But I feel like I saw that this car's now got some critical engine issue that he's got to get dealt with. That's going to cost a pretty penny. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw a video about that somewhere.
I can't speak to it either, but there is he's got a, like, it's, heads off sort of, it's a job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still cheap compared to the price of a new one.
Yeah, and that really lands exactly what Dylan's talking about. You can kind of just take a chance. I feel exactly that way about the Cayenne. Like, it's your investment up front is low.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Relatively speaking.
You just make
Roll
sure
with
you're
the
ready.
punches.
Yeah, and make sure you're ready to fix whatever needs to be fixed. Like you just can't let things pile up.
No,
Like
fair
you need
enough.
to address issues when they come up.
Yeah.
Yep.
You need
Good
to
friend.
stay on your regular maintenance.
Yeah.
Flush the gearboxes.
Yeah.
Do whatever you got to do.
Yeah. A good friend of mine said he's owned multiple Cayennes. He said that a Cayenne is the kind of car, specific to that, it's the kind of car where you can't just put fuel in it. You have to keep an eye on things, maintain it.
Yeah.
But on average, he said, hey, they've been reliable. I've owned 5 or 6. They've been great. You just can't only put fuel in it. You need to pay attention. And I actually use that line on a regular basis when people message me about the car. I mention that exact same thing. And
And I think we're more lenient with older cars.
I mean, I definitely don't. I treat the car with respect. I just do. Is that what you mean?
I guess I more mean like you can go buy a brand new vehicle. Like, I mean, we've bought brand new top of the line Ford F-250 Platinums.
Yeah.
100 grand. Oh, sunroof doesn't work. right out of the box.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at all of our V-dubs. Oh, radios don't work.
Exactly.
It's like,
Oh, so
come
you're-
I don't know
on.
what you mean.
When you say lenient, you're like, we need a brand new car to work and it should be mint. And if you buy only like, oh yeah, it's got this, it's got that, and you just sort of let it go because it is 10 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
think that's fair.
Or you just go, oh, it should break by now.
course.
Or
Yeah.
something like that. But when you drive a new vehicle off the lot,
It's unacceptable.
and they're, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's unacceptable.
Agreed.
And it's so difficult to get things like actually corrected nowadays.
Well, if it doesn't throw the code, then they can't scan it. Or is that? I mean, I think that's the idea. If there's no code and you pull in, they're like, well,
It's
sorry.
not broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You found the sweet spot for this though, because if you roll out one morning and one of the air suspension has blown out or there's a check engine light, you just turn the key off and you go grab your other thing. Like if you need it to go every day,
Yeah.
it's a little different. But
Yeah.
you've done this right.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need a stable of 3.
Yeah.
I have a daily Tiguan, and to Dylan's point there, I do suffer from regular, I don't know, let's call them gremlins. It's, I could be driving on the highway and everything just goes black on my digital dashboard and everything just disappears, and I'm mechanically, the car's running flawlessly, the cruise control's still operating, but I can't tell you what speed I'm going, I can't say anything. And then 3 or 4 minutes later, it'll refresh and welcome to Volkswagen, and I'm back. And I'm not the kind of guy who actually cares that much. I think that would have bothered me years ago, but now I'm like, I don't really care. It's new. It's their problem. I'll drive it while it's under warranty, and I'll get rid of it at the appropriate moment. I don't worry about it. And I go through this recycling thing on a regular basis, probably once a week.
Yep.
First day I bought it, I made it, I don't know, 3 kilometers from the dealership before it had a full-blown meltdown. Recycled itself about 10 times, and I drove it straight back, and they just plugged it into the wall, reflashed it, and went, okay, you're good to go. I don't know. It doesn't actually really bother me.
Yikes.
Oh, it bothers me on my Audi.
Yeah.
Big
Mike,
time.
well, you have a different problem, though.
Yeah.
Like when your seat's
Wow.
moving.
Yeah. Lots of issues with the infotainment system. So we'll see.
You might, I mean, honestly, you must have a lemon, and
Yeah.
mine is a generation older, but it's still kind of the same architecture. And
Yeah.
I do not have problems with that car.
My last one was a 2018 Q5. No problems at all.
Yep.
Great
Okay.
car.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
had an A4 S line after that. Would be 2019, 2020.
Yep.
Same. Fine.
Yep.
This
Still-
new one, 24. Awful.
Did
Since
you have the
day I got
touchscreen in the 20 or in the S4?
it. I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's like the Gen 2. Like mine's still the scrolly wheel, and like
Yeah.
it's nothing to go wrong.
When you're paying good money for this thing and you can't get in it, when you're driving down the road and the seat starts going forward or backwards and the infotainment screen is not up, it says loading user.
Oh, boy.
It's just, I'm ready to drive the thing back there and say, take it.
Well, there's 3 of us around the table that has Volkswagen Group products, and our daily driver Atlas, shortly after we got it, had some issue. I can't remember what. Brought it in. They did the service. They said, "Oh yeah, I know what it was." There's a console on the roof that has haptic buttons to run the sunroof. Whoever's brilliant
Oh,
idea
yeah.
that was. Well,
Are you serious? You have a haptic button for the sunroof?
yeah. You have to drag your finger along this piano black.
Yeah.
button.
Oh, yeah.
It's totally
Yeah,
true.
It's
What year is that car?
24.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work. You've got the sunroof open, you're touching it, and nothing happens. And thankfully, we didn't get stuck with it like long term with it open. But like this whole thing doesn't work. And interestingly, the Bluetooth mic, the SOS function, the sunroof controls, the lights are all tied into this console, and it just dies. And then you can't talk on the phone, you can't open the sunroof, you can't turn the lights off in the car. And so we took it in. All's well. They said, yeah, that's kind of a known problem. They changed the module. Got home, the key doesn't work.
Oh.
I dropped it off because I had picked it up, and my poor wife needed to go somewhere. Well, her key wouldn't unlock the car or start the car. I'm like, oh, the battery's just dead. Stick it on the little. There's a spot in the interior somewhere that. Anyway, no, that didn't work. So then I had to bring it back to Volkswagen. They said, we've been having a problem with these keys. When it talks to the communication mothership, it sometimes bricks the keys. And it's
boy.
Friday at 4:00. We don't want to do that.
Okay.
So come back on Monday. I'm like,
Okay.
okay. So now I've been
What are
here
we supposed to
3
do the whole
times in
weekend?
4 days or 5 days. So yeah, they have gremlins.
That's interesting because my 2024 Tiguan still has a nice, that kind of ubiquitous Volkswagen like slidey thing.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
move the knob
Two-way
back
little
for-
button thing,
Yeah, yeah. It's
But the
been
Atlas
like,
just went through the full refresh, right?
I guess
Yes.
so. Because do you have the one with the light up Volkswagen symbol?
Oh yeah, which is
Oh, I don't like that. Oh, is that?
that is a trend that needs to
Oh,
die.
I feel
We
bad.
can talk about that another day.
I shouldn't say that. I feel.
I hate it too. I hate it.
Mike, fill us in on the Q5 only quickly.
Yeah.
What is a 2024 Q5 worth today? I honestly don't follow.
78 maybe.
It's a lot of money to have problems like that.
Oh, it's a lot of
That
money.
would be the high. That would be
High-
the Technique or
Yeah,
whatever.
I can't remember the model, but yeah, it's one of the higher ones. So
Yeah.
you can go one higher, I think. but-
SQ5.
Yeah, SQ5 for sure, but I think even within just the Q5, you can go higher.
Okay.
But yeah,
boy.
it's a lot of money.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
for when we're having issues.
Agreed.
First
Well,
of all,
And
that
it's a
aren't
year
being
old, and
addressed.
it's same story for a year. Nothing.
yikes. For some context, my Tiguan was 41,000 and has problems.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually bother me that much. I'm kind of okay with it. At 78, it might really upset me.
Yeah.
Well, here's my thing with the Cayenne. I can put $500 a month into my Cayenne and be less money than this Q5.
There you go.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, like our last Atlas, so 2023, I think.
Did you have the VR6 or the 2-liter?
VR6.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is
And-
gutless.
Which
Let's
they,
say.
let's be honest,
Oh,
they
it
drive
was-
exactly the same. Yeah,
gutless.
yeah.
So gutless.
Yeah, yeah. But yes, big, the long one, not the cross sport, and it would just shut off on the road.
Oh,
like
love that.
power down.
Love that. Yeah. No, like no
I never had
mechanical.
that.
Like
You wanna
drivetrain
get a call
shuts
from
off.
your wife.
I had two cross sports, VR6. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I liked your crossboard. It was kind of cool in
It was
black.
nice.
I
We
thought it was
also
pretty
had
cool.
2 of those and did not have that problem, thankfully.
yeah.
My
Oh
goodness.
yeah, shut it right down, middle of an intersection, and
What do you do?
luckily,
Just pop into park and restart it?
I don't know. I wasn't in the car. The wife was, but I heard about it.
I'm sure you did.
Quick on the phone.
I'm seeing this as a positive that your wife has got 2 shout outs today. One about the
Yeah,
car
you're right.
breaking down. What about the
You're
new
right.
one?
She should be
Twice
happy.
on an episode. Special day.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Well, look, I think we're probably running out on time, but we'll maybe we'll wrap it there. Any other thoughts you want to drop in here?
Sorry, Willie. I shouted you out at the start. You took a bit of a hit after our Volkswagen.
Yeah.
So
You know what? Honestly, that's where we got the Atlas off of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You shouted this guy out, but I don't even know who he
He's
is,
the
so let's
sales
not worry.
manager.
Sales manager.
VW Willie.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, sorry,
Good
Willie.
guy. Good guy.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
well,
Atlas that shut off was actually his demo.
Next demo.
Oh,
right.
Which he does about 3 of those a month.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Well, you can share him the podcast and see
yeah.
what he thinks.
Yeah.
You never know. Maybe he'll want to come on and rebut.
That would be great. We'd love to have him.
You never know.
Would love it.
All right. Well, we'll catch up next week. We'll post this up in the next few days. Anything else?
No.
No,
New
I
Year.
think we're good. Yeah, Happy New Year.
Say goodbye, fellas.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.